WWE.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for June the 21st, 2021. It is officially summer now, and things are heating up in WWE. We have a lot to look forward to in the world of wrestling with live event touring for both WWE and AEW starting up next month. Slammiversary is going to have fans. New Japan Pro Wrestling is coming back to the United States. Things in the wrestling world starting to move back towards a sense of normalcy. So, with that being said, let's get to this Raw recap. This was coming off the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. No stalling, no video packages. We got right to the pyro. We had the MVP lounge with MVP, of course, Bobby Lashley, and the ladies to celebrate Lashley's victory, successfully retaining the WWE title against Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell at the pay-per-view. We had the cell above the ring, which meant that there was probably going to be a Hell in a Cell match. We'll get to that here in just a second. Lashley cut a promo, said that Drew McIntyre almost took him to his limit, but Drew McIntyre at his best was not good enough to beat the almighty Bobby Lashley. And MVP proposed a toast, and that's when we had an interruption from the New Day. They had a toast of their own, but it was actual toast. They started throwing the toast at MVP and Lashley. MVP called them clowns, said they belong in a circus. And then Kofi had a question for Bob. He wanted to know, will the ladies be there when he beats Lashley for the WWE Championship? Lashley basically laughed at this, but Kofi said he beat Daniel Bryan and he beat Lashley. He showed the footage. Of course, the part where McIntyre helped was edited out. But then Kofi challenged Lashley to a WWE title match at Money in the Bank, which Lashley accepted. And then we had Xavier Woods proposing a match with Bobby Lashley. And Lashley basically laughed him off, but then Xavier brought up his accomplishments. And furthermore, he wanted to fight Lashley in a Hell in a Cell match, as I just mentioned. The cell was there, Xavier made the challenge, and Bobby Lashley accepted for the main event. Now, of course, there was this report a few days ago that USA Network was not happy about Fox and SmackDown having a Hell in a Cell match. So I guess to please USA Network, WWE booked a fourth Hell in a Cell match in the span of 4 days. Marquand 1976 with a $5 super chat, first one of the evening, says, "Hey Aaron, your reviews are how I watch Raw." And he put watch in quotes. "Keep up the good work." I appreciate that, Marquand 1976. Thank you for that. We had AJ Styles versus Ricochet in our first match of the evening. And this episode of Raw had several Money in the Bank qualifying matches. A clip was shown earlier in the day of Styles and Omos confronting the Viking Raiders. And Styles bragged about how he was going to win Money in the Bank. And then eventually the Raiders would get their opportunity. And then Styles knocked the turkey leg out of, is it Ivar? Or I think it's Ivar that holds the turkey leg. Knocked it out of his hand. That son of a bitch. Anyways, we had the match between Styles and Ricochet. Styles got the upper hand early, but then the Viking Raiders came down to the ring and they attacked Omos. Omos fought them off. Styles was distracted. Omos charged at the Raiders, but they sidestepped him and he crashed through the barricade. Ricochet took advantage of Styles being distracted Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, but Ricochet countered it with a code breaker and scored the 1-2-3 victory, the upset win over AJ Styles. Is this the beginning of a comeback for Ricochet with fans returning? Maybe he'll bring back his tights and Ricochet will have a renewed push in WWE. I guess we'll see soon enough. But yeah, Ricochet, first person to qualify for Money in the Bank. And we have another super chat here from Dr. NXT Scorpio, which I will get to in just a second. But first, I wanted to talk about this backstage segment. Eva Marie was backstage with her protege, and she said last week she caught a cold, and that's why she had her protege take her spot. And then when the protege was going to give her name, of course, it was Piper Niven, but Eva Marie cut her off and said that her name is Dewdrop. Dewdrop is her name. And as Dr. NXT Scorpio said with a $2 super chat, says, do drop a like on this video, folks. I'll leave now. Haha, well played there. And yes, you guys, please do drop a like and leave a comment. Do drop a comment, if you will. So, I know a lot of people hate this, but I thought the reaction of Piper, aka Dewdrop, was great. Just total disbelief about what's going on here. And then Eva Marie just has this big grin and she's all happy with herself. Like I thought it was actually really entertaining. I know people are crapping on it, but I'm enjoying the storyline so far. Let's get to the match here in just a second. We had Matt Riddle and Randy Orton backstage, and Riddle said he's going to win Money in the Bank, and everywhere they go, he'll have his stash in the briefcase. The stash was Whoppers from Burger King. And Riddle talked about how he has this irrational fear of the Burger King stealing his Whoppers. And Randy Orton was very unamused by this, wanted to know seriously what Riddle wanted from him. And Riddle said maybe some pointers, and Orton just said to stay out of his way. And Randy Orton, speaking of stashes, Randy Orton's stash after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it was, is no more. So RIP to the Randy Orton stash. And Waylon says, Riddle giving me RVD vibes. I mean, yeah, he pretty much is the modern day RVD. They're very similar. We had Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville in the ring, and they had Rhea Ripley come down, and Pearce talked about how Rhea Ripley intentionally got herself disqualified, and that was unacceptable. And Rhea responded by saying, hey, Charlotte breaks the rules all the time. Charlotte then appeared, said she is going to destroy Rhea Ripley, and Sonya Deville officially made a rematch for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Maybe this is where Charlotte gets the championship, and then Becky Lynch returns, and, well, Charlotte versus Becky again. Better be ready for it. We had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville working out in the ring, interrupting Natalya and Tamina's interview. Basically, the roles reversed from the other week, and Natalya and Tamina tried to get into the ring. Mandy and Dana knocked them down and prevented them from getting in the ring. This was a stupid segment. I have little to no interest in this match. I agree with Kurapika07. The feud is lame. We had Randy Orton versus John Morrison in another Money in the Bank qualifying match. And Miz was out there in his wheelchair on commentary. Orton sent Morrison into the table, slammed him on it, no disqualification, because in WWE, you can slam somebody on an object. You cannot pick up the object and hit somebody with it. So for anybody confused out there, that's how it works in WWE. We had Morrison going after Orton's arm, and Orton started to make his comeback, was going to hit the RKO, but then Miz sprayed Orton with the drip stick. Morrison rolled up Orton, but Orton kicked out of it. And then Riddle came down on the scooter, was chasing Miz, who was trying to escape in the wheelchair. This was actually pretty funny. And then Morrison took advantage of a distracted Orton, hit the Starship Pain, and picked up the win to qualify for Money in the Bank. So yeah, another upset victory, which I'm actually okay with because you're putting in the guys who will do well in the ladder match. Ricochet, Morrison, it's not really Randy Orton's specialty, the Money in the Bank ladder match. Although he could still end up being in it. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Hamp Kano with a $5 super chat says, Raw's new tagline should be make chicken salad into chicken shit. Hamp, I do not think was impressed with this week's Raw. But thank you for the super chat, Hamp. I appreciate it. And Mr. Anderson with a $2 super chat says, I hope we can get Lashley's 3 sisters at Money in the Bank also. No, never mention the sisters again. This is a new and improved Bobby Lashley. The 3 sisters never happened. We need to do that Men in Black routine with you so you don't remember anything. Oofman Entertainment says, so I can throw somebody into a chair but not swing and hit them with a chair. That is correct, Oofman. That is the WWE rule book. Hey, I don't make the rules. WWE does. Anyways, I got to get back to the tag team match, a women's qualifying match. Eva Marie teaming up with Dewdrop against Asuka and Naomi. Eva acted like she was going to wrestle, but then quickly tagged out to Dewdrop. Dewdrop did some damage for a while, and then Eva Marie, thinking it was safe to take the victory, tagged herself in, went for the cover, but then Naomi kicked out. Eva Marie wanted a tag back, but Dewdrop was feeling disrespected, so she got off the apron in protest, and then Naomi rolled up Eva Marie to pick up the win. Eva Marie losing, I guess, her second match. Is it her second match? I don't even know. But yeah, there's already trouble in paradise between Eva Marie and Dewdrop. But I will say I was entertained by the storyline. Like, it's ridiculous. The whole thing's absurd. But it made for good entertainment. Next up, we had the other women's qualifying match. By the way, in the tag matches, 2 people qualify. So Asuka and Naomi have qualified for Money in the Bank. Asuka, of course, won it last year. I'd like to see Naomi win it this year, and maybe that's when she cashes in on Bianca Belair and goes with Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, her husband. This is the new Jimmy Uso coming back. Now that Jimmy Uso is back, I gotta go to the next storyline, which is Naomi joining up with the Bloodline. And that'll probably not happen for 6 months, and I'll keep saying, this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it, and it never happens. So yeah, I hope Naomi wins, and by SummerSlam-ish time, she cashes in on Bianca Belair and goes heel with the Bloodline. We had a very interesting tag team match. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Alexa Bliss had new music, which I actually liked. I have not been the biggest fan of the recent WWE entrance themes, but I thought this one was pretty good. And it separates her gimmick a little bit from the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse. They changed it up, which I think is fine. Make her own character and try to evolve her past the Firefly Funhouse and whatnot. So I actually did like the new music. But then even more interesting than Alexa's new music, we had Nikki Cross cutting a promo, and she revealed herself as a superhero. Basically, she's the new Mighty Molly. She came to the ring with new entrance music again. I mean, she's gone through like 3 or 4 of them in the past several years. This is better than her previous music, I will say that much. We had the tag team match, and Alexa distracted Reginald early on, and then Nikki came off the top rope doing a crossbody onto Nia, Shayna, and Reginald. But then Shayna and Nia were able to gain control. They worked over Alexa for a while, but then Alexa got angry. She hit a sunset bomb, and then Nikki Cross made the hot tag. Then Alexa started doing her routine again. First, what happened was Shayna almost punched Nia. Nia got angry, went to the outside of the ring, and then Alexa hypnotized Reginald. Reginald swung at Nia but stopped himself. And while this was all going on, Nikki Cross took advantage and pinned Shayna Baszler once again. Well, Shayna Baszler just getting pinned once again, not by Nikki, but just getting pinned in general. And there you have it. Nikki Cross, the superhero. The superhero, is she a superhero or a superhero in training? She got the win with Alexa Bliss. I guess they're all buddy-buddy now again. The whole thing is so weird. I think Alexa Bliss is a face, but, you know, it's hard to comprehend what the hell is going on here sometimes. Alexa and superhero Nikki are now in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Colin Andrews says ridiculous gimmick. Race Fan 42 says her gear just looks too silly. Ace in his familiar vlog says I like the new Nikki Cross. JSpin 401 says Nikki Cross's new gimmick gives me Mighty Molly and Blue Blazer vibes. Darren says every time he hears me say Alexa, he feels like I'm asking Amazon Alexa to look up something. And Curtis Butler says Big G is crying. Yeah. For all the people that are upset about Shayna Baszler, like, it's over. You just got to accept it. Shayna, her monster push is done. It had its run, but it's over. And you just got to come to terms with it, which I did a long time ago. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 sticker. Looks like a superhero cartoon character. Thank you for that, Psycho Jet Black. I was entertained by the Nikki Cross thing. Like, people are complaining about it, but hey, it's giving her TV time and giving her another chance to be a star. Like, they pretty much gave up on her what she was doing before, so at least it's something. Now, the thing that people are finding interesting is the timing of it. Did Molly Holly have anything to do with this? She recently started a trial run as a producer, and then all of a sudden there's a superhero character just like what she used to do as Mighty Molly. And Leatherface also says regarding Shayna is on TV every week, so that is true. At least Shayna's getting TV time. Granted, it's not her being a badass, it's her basically getting beat every week, but hey, better than nothing, I suppose. We had a backstage segment, several people that are not booked for Money in the Bank. Former WWE Champion Jinder Mahal, former WWE Champion Jeff Hardy, and several others were complaining to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville about not getting qualifying matches. And Jinder Mahal even volunteered to be an alternative competitor if something happens to one of the participants. I guess we'll see if that angle has a follow-up next week. And by the way, what was the response to this? I thought maybe they would announce like a battle royal or something, but instead, there's going to be a last chance match next week. with 3 more of the people that lost on Raw. Instead of giving an opportunity to these other guys, people that already lost will get 1 more opportunity. So whatever. Ace and his familiar vlogs with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, Shayna will get pushed when she breaks up from Jax. Or will it be the opposite? Will it be Jax getting the push once the team breaks up? You gotta put yourself in Vince's brain. You gotta put yourself in his shoes. Walter Cruz with a $3 super chat says, Jinder Mahal finally gets TV time and botches all of his lines. Yeah, I did notice that. He did stutter a little bit when he was delivering his 2 lines of the evening. My guess is he'll try to attack somebody and he'll fail. I do not anticipate Jinder Mahal being in the ladder match. Keep in mind, we got to have a few SmackDown people as well. They'll likely do some qualifying matches over on SmackDown. Maybe Dolph Ziggler gets in it because he's a guy that fits in with the ladder match concept. We had Drew McIntyre backstage with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and he said he's not going to surrender. He had all the scars from the pay-per-view. His back was all bruised up. We had Drew McIntyre versus Matt Riddle in another qualifying match. And in this match, Riddle was trying to exploit McIntyre's injuries, kicking McIntyre in the back. But that just made Drew angry. And Drew was tossing Riddle around, but started feeling the effects of Hell in a Cell. And that's when Randy Orton came down to the stage to get a little bit of a closer look at this match. And these guys had a hell of a match. I mean, this was the match of the night, in my opinion. It went back and forth here. Riddle with some submissions. You had McIntyre hitting the Future Shock DDT for a near fall. Went for the Claymore, but Riddle countered it into a submission. And then Riddle went for the floating bro, but he missed. And then McIntyre hit the Glasgow kiss and picked up Riddle on his shoulders. But then Riddle rolled through, turned it into a pinfall, and beat the former WWE champion Drew McIntyre. Maybe the biggest win of Riddle's career, beating McIntyre. But of course, McIntyre had been through hell in a cell and wasn't 100% going into the match. And afterwards, Riddle went up to Randy Orton and wanted a fist bump from his buddy, his tag team partner, but Orton was just with his arms crossed, very upset. And Riddle was like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "You could talk to me, bro." And Randy Orton just gave him the cold stare. And I felt bad for Riddle. You know how they were making Riddle annoying for so long? Like, this is one of the first times, like, I actually felt bad for Riddle that Randy Orton just went cold on him. Like, I legitimately felt bad for Riddle. And Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. Says, with fans coming back, WWE has to take Money in the Bank serious and let someone who really deserves it win. I really want it to be Sammy to get it him with the case awesome TV. I think Walter said he wants Sami Zayn to win the briefcase. I'm not sure about that. If Sami Zayn was, well, here's the thing. We've seen a lot of heel Money in the Bank holders. I'd like to see somebody win it who's actually going to be pushed at a high level. Like with Sami Zayn, I don't think they're ever going to put the world title on him. So I think you got to go with somebody that is being groomed for a top spot. And maybe not somebody who's going to end up taking the cheap route to win. Like I'd like to see somebody win the Money in the Bank and call their shot. Say, I'm going to challenge at this pay-per-view in this type of match. At least one of them. Have one of them do that, and then the other winner tease it for the longest time and then do it when there's a good opportunity. I don't think Morrison's going to win. I guess I got to see who all the participants are before making any kind of a prediction on it. We had Jackson Riker backstage, and he was giving himself lashes with the strap that he had. And Mansoor approached him and wanted some advice. Why he would get advice from Riker, I have no idea. Riker's advice was to never let your enemies escape. And because of that, he is going to face Elias in a strap match. A Yappa Pie Indian strap match. Actually, no, it was just a strap match. But would have been funny if he said it was a Yappa Pie Indian strap match, Jack. But he didn't say that. And kudos to anybody that has any idea what I was talking about there. So Ali then approached Mansoor and said that Mansoor is looking for the answers, but asking the wrong questions. And Ali said that Mansoor should be asking, why aren't they getting money in the bank opportunities? The money in the bank opportunities are being stolen from them, and what they have to do is build their own ladder. And Hamp got it. That Yappa Pie Indian strap match was a reference to Hogan and Flair, not Luger, but you were on the right track with Hogan. Vintage WCW 2000. And yeah, the last chance match they announced for next week is Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. And I'm blanking on the third person. Oh, Drew McIntyre, of course. So maybe Drew McIntyre gets the opportunity and then can still compete for the championship. They tried to play it off on commentary like McIntyre would have to wait until Lashley lost the title to cash in Money in the Bank. But the Money in the Bank is a guarantee. Doesn't matter the stipulation. You have a guaranteed cash in anywhere, anytime. So I would think that would overrule the Lashley stipulation. But who knows if we're even going to have McIntyre win that match. He might not win the qualifying match next week. We then had our Hell in a Cell main event. Xavier Woods versus Bobby Lashley. Xavier took the fight to Lashley, went right after him, tried to use a chair, but that backfired, and Lashley punched the chair into Xavier's face. Xavier was able to stay in the fight. He hit Lashley with the chair, and Lashley was actually on the apron and got knocked off and went into the cage. Lashley caught Xavier in the ring skirt, but then Kofi Kingston started trash-talking Lashley, and Xavier was able to once again get the advantage. He used the kendo stick, and then he laid out Lashley on the table, did a flying elbow drop halfway across the ring through the table. However, Lashley kicked out of that, and then Lashley recovered, sent Woods into this chair that was set up in the corner, and then Lashley hit the spear, put on the hurt lock, and scored the 1-2-3 victory. I mean, pretty much everybody knew this was going to be the outcome. Wasn't a very long Hell in a Cell match. It was fine, but it was what I would call a TV Hell in a Cell match. You know, I would say the weakest of the four easily, but still an entertaining Raw main event. And then afterwards, Lashley continued the beatdown. MVP locked himself in the cell, and then they put the hurt lock on Xavier Woods, as Kofi Kingston was there, unable to help his friend. I did like the end. I did think that was a good setup for Kofi Kingston versus Lashley. And I do think that's a good first match back, because Kofi is pretty much Kofi and everybody loves him, and they could tease Kofi Mania 2 again. And I think there'll be good heat for that match. And of course, Lashley can beat him and move on to SummerSlam. So overall, yeah, I agree with some of the comments about Hell in a Cell no longer being special. Whatever, you know, they did 4 in 4 days. I just wish they did something on the top of the cell, like with the crash pads and everything and the edits, they could have easily done something there with fighting on top of the cell and doing some crazy stunt. And with the power of editing, they could pull it off safely. So I was a little disappointed that they didn't do anything regarding the top of the cage and having somebody come off of it. Mr. Anderson with a $2 super chat says, was Raw's Hell in a Cell better than SmackDown? No, I would say SmackDown's was better. Raw's was the weakest of the four, but still a good match. So overall, I thought Raw was one of the better episodes of the year. There's a lot of ridiculousness, don't get me wrong, but I was entertained. I was not bored with Raw, and like I always say, I would rather be entertained than be bored. Even if the entertainment is like watching a train wreck, and sometimes it felt that way, but I'm looking forward to Money in the Bank. I think they did a pretty good job setting up the matches, and it was a fun show for me. So I'm giving it a B+. Very good episode of Raw. Better than pretty much every Raw of the year, to my recollection. I mean, it was very good by Raw standards. And Israel Diaz with a C, J-Spin 401 with a C, The Game is on 100 with a C-, Leatherface with a B-, CC Drink with a B, Matt Helms with a B+, and Terry with a D, Daniel with a D+, and Mr. Anderson with a B, Brandon Hoover with a B as well. Looks like, well, Matt Helms gave it a B+, but pretty much everybody else gave it a lower letter grade than I did. So, guess I liked Raw better than most, although Ace in his familiar vlogs gave it an A- for being different. And yeah, it was different, and I was entertained by the show overall. That was Raw, and no Goldberg, even though there was a little bit of a tease. Lashley tweeted, "Who's next?" And then the USA Network Twitter account said that we'll have to see who can show up and spear Lashley out of the WWE title position, making everybody think it was Goldberg. But hey, SummerSlam, if Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar isn't happening, who else do you have to face Lashley for the title? So it could end up being Goldberg. Guess we'll wait and see. But again, I'm looking forward to what's to come. And that's definitely a positive. Make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate your viewership and support. And I will see you